Hey y'all, my name is Trey, and thank you for joining my YouTube channel today. For those of you that are new, I'm a narcissistic abuse survivor, and I'm also getting my doctorate in occupational therapy with an emphasis on trauma recovery. Today we're going to talk about a phrase that you hear all the time, which is about reclaiming your life after narcissism. And trust me, I say it all the time too, and I know how nauseating that can sound. But today what I want to do is take this big concept of reclaiming your life and break it down into bite-sized pieces so you can take it one step at a time. But before we get into it, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the exclusive content only found here on YouTube. All right, let's do this. Whenever you're in a relationship with a narcissistic or toxic person, or even if you're just in an unhealthy dynamic, there are going to be activities or things that you used to do that you enjoyed that you haven't done in a very long time. And there can be multiple reasons for this, but the two most common reasons that I see, and even that I experienced myself, were that these events or activities had a negative connotation because of this individual, or you just didn't have the emotional capacity to even do them. When you're in these relationships, we're constantly emotionally on overdrive. So the last thing in the world that we have time to do is take care of ourselves. And that time and that mental energy and physical time is always being constantly hijacked by this person because you're always having to worry about what's going on with them. I hear stories from clients all the time about how they were specifically told they couldn't do certain things. I never even went through that, and I still neglected a lot of my own self-care because I just didn't have the emotional energy to do it. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to make a list. Make a list of all of the things that you used to enjoy that you either haven't done in a while or you were told that you couldn't do. And while you're at it, just go ahead and make a list of things that you enjoy even if you're still currently doing them. But the ones that you haven't done in a while, it's really important to actually ask yourself, why? Why have I not done this? Am I avoiding it, or did I just not have time? The ones that you're avoiding, it's very possible that you have a negative connotation to them. I'm gonna give you a really common example that I hear in my client calls all the time. Cooking. I have so many clients that told me stories about how when they cooked dinner, it always led to a fight because it was either never good enough, or it was the wrong thing, or it was too salty, or it was this, or it was that. And now something as simple as cooking triggers them. The ones that you just haven't been doing for a while, those are pretty easy to reincorporate back into your routine. But the ones that have a negative connotation to them, those are the ones that you might need to get a little bit creative to how can I do this activity but it not feel like I'm back in that same situation. So for the cooking example, find a new recipe, try it for just you or just you and your kids. Something that you've never done before. And you can slowly but surely start getting back to the things that you used to cook and you used to enjoy. Reclaim it one step at a time. Speaking of that, start off small. It's really important to meet yourself where you're at in your healing journey. If you're fresh into this, you probably barely have the energy just to get out of bed and get yourself functioning. And understand that's extremely normal. This actually isn't you being lazy, and this isn't you being pathetic. It's probably just the first time that you've been able to rest in a very long time. So you need to give yourself that permission to rest. But if you start to feel like you're getting to this place of dwelling, then let's start setting some realistic goals. Don't expect yourself to get back to fully normal after 2 weeks. Hell, don't expect yourself to be back to fully normal after 2 months, by the way. So maybe for the first week or two that you're trying to reincorporate all this stuff, maybe you just set one goal for that entire week. If you're someone that really loves getting their nails done, let that be your goal for the entire week. I'm gonna get my nails done. And even if you don't do anything else productive that whole week, you at least accomplished your goal. Sometimes when we set too high of expectations when we're in a recovery journey, it can actually set us up for more disappointment because we're expecting ourselves to be at a place that we're just not capable of being at yet. So even if these small goals almost feel ridiculous because they're so small, when you set that goal and you accomplish it, it actually helps raise your confidence and helps speed up the trajectory of your healing. I remember there were times where I celebrated the fact that all I did that week was I at least did my nighttime routine every night that week. And that may have been the only thing that I did to take care of myself all week, but it was more than I was doing before. Next, it's really important to make a plan. Make a plan around these small goals and start to judge how you feel after you accomplish these small goals. Once you start getting comfortable with maybe doing 1 or 2 things a week, then up it a little bit. It also gives you something to look forward to. If you're someone that really enjoys quality time with your friends or your family, set up dates. And then you're also holding yourself accountable to somebody other than just you. And check in with yourself, how did my plan go? Remember, never look at anything with the place of judgment. You're just seeking inventory and you're just checking your progress and seeing how things are going. Next, find a support system. And when I say support system, I don't necessarily mean 10 or 12 people. My support system was really about 3 or 4, and they were strategic. I had 2 friends that actually had been through this before, so when I was really down in my emotions, I talked to them about it. But then I had 2 other friends that hadn't necessarily been through this. They wanted to help me, but they didn't necessarily know how, so I just used them as, I just need to talk to somebody about anything but this whole situation. I need something to distract myself. Your support system doesn't have to be huge, you just need one. And sometimes your support group may just have to be here virtually, where you're making comments on videos, whether it's on any of the social media apps. And you know what? That's okay too, because at least you're talking to people that understand exactly what you went through. The next one is replacing the bad mental habits with healthy mental habits. This one is tough and it takes work. If you've ever tried to break any kind of bad habit, you know how much work that is. They always say it takes 21 days to create a new habit, right? The mistake that we try to make when it comes to these unhealthy thought patterns that we have is that we think that they're just gonna go away on their own. We have to remember that bad habits don't just break. They have to be replaced with a healthier habit. One of the worst mental habits that I actually had to break was my self-deprecating talk. Saying things like, I was such an idiot, how could I be so stupid? Why did I do this? And blah, 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 blah. Here's the thing, the self-deprecation, it's not helping you at all. All that it's doing is it's keeping you trapped in a cycle of emotional abuse, but the difference is you've actually become your own abuser. Create some healthy phrases where you're actually pouring more love back into yourself and more grace back into yourself, and understand your story from when you were in the relationship. Because the reality is you weren't stupid in the relationship. You may have just been trying to keep your family together. You weren't an idiot. You may have just been scared to leave. So start telling yourself the actual truth and stop self-deprecating. And stop gaslighting yourself. You got out of that relationship, remember? Lastly, knowing the difference between understanding and radical acceptance. I talk about this a lot. There's a huge difference between understanding something and just accepting it. You are never going to fully understand why they did what they did, because a lot of it is unexplainable. And we can get stuck trying to bring logical thinking to an illogical situation. At some point, you are going to know everything that you need to know. And you're gonna know everything that you can know. You're not gonna get the explanations that you deserve. You're not gonna get the justice that you fully deserve. So unfortunately, a lot of times we reach acceptance without understanding. You can accept the situation as is without fully understanding it. And you can accept that they are who they are without fully understanding them. Once you're able to accept the situation for what it is and accept them for who they are, you can really start moving forward and reaching the level of indifference. And look, I know how frustrating that is. I'm a why guy. I like to know the why behind things. But unfortunately with this, I just had to realize I'm never going to know why. So hopefully this was able to at least give you some sort of starting point to start making your plan and reclaiming your life after narcissism. But if you have any questions, or maybe you even have suggestions of things that are working for you, please leave it in the comments and let's help each other out. Hey you guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I wanted to make sure that you knew my course, Breaking Free from Rumination, is now live and available. This course is specifically designed to help you reclaim your peace and clarity after narcissistic abuse. It's a 6-week self-paced online course that's an accumulation of all the strategies that finally started to work for me in overcoming this obsessive thinking cycle. I don't know about you, but I know how addictive and how depleting that phase felt. And it was by far the hardest phase for me to get over. I truly believe this course will help you make the progress in 6 weeks that took me 6 months to get. All of my resources can be found in the link in the About Me section. There is a free preview of the course if you'd like to check that out. As always, thank you so much for allowing me to have a small part in your healing journey. Stay safe and stay strong.